I like your background. I think it's good.
Yeah, Christmas and Ghostbusters, Story Night.
Yeah.
What is going on, everybody? Another Three Geeks conversation. We're joined again by James DuMont. So, James, we just watched the movie that you just had come out, and I dug it. I am a big fan of like the 90s action movie, and it felt like a throwback to that.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
And I got things about your career that I want to discuss with you, but I got to ask up top, what was it like working with Mel Gibson?
That's always a good controversial question. Way to really jump right into it. Let's get the politically correct answer is we had some great chemistry on camera, as you see.
You did, absolutely.
Yeah. No, I had a great time. I really did. You know, like one of my dear friends, her son and my son grew up together, and she's been the vice president of Mel's company for a long, long time. And when this came about and the director was kind of looking at me and a couple other people and some producers were pushing some other names, I did what I'm supposed to do in the Hollywood world is like, hey, man, I reached out to my friend who's been I was like, look, I'm up to this thing. Like it's between me and a couple other people. And so if there's anything you can kind of say about, you know, working with me or being my experience, because I've known her for like a long period of time. And then ironically, it's like it never really got to Mel. It was just like finally. So the way this came about was my former agent here in Southeast has a client who was producing these movies and got Mel attached. And they were like, look, we're shooting this thing in Atlanta. We need an actor that can really kind of hold his own with Mel. And my friend Jalen, who's one of the producers of it, and he's also in it, it was like, do you know who's perfect for the sheriff? It's like James DuMont. Like, and the director's like, well, yeah, but I need the sheriff to be, you're not sure if he's a good guy or a bad guy. I need for him to be funny, and he's got to be totally believable. And I he's got to, so it's like the director had 3 certain important characteristics that they wanted. And then the producers were also like, well, we got Mel, but maybe, in this role, because it's pretty solid, he's got like 7 scenes. It's like, we could kind of job somebody in. And then they're looking at the budget and how much they spent for Mel. And they're just like, so they needed somebody to be, work out of Atlanta. That was another thing. I'm an hour away by flight. So, it was like, but the best compliment, because I have a really, really good body of work that is very diverse, and it's not like, oh, it's same. It's very eclectic, and it's very different. And there's even things that I've not put on reels or out there. Like I just did I don't know if you're familiar with the book Confederacy of Dunces. So I just played at Ignatius in Confederacy of Dunces, which is, like this iconic 20th century, Pulitzer Prize winning novel that they've been trying to make into a movie for like 25 years. So I did that. And then I played this other role. So that's a really interesting out there character. And then I did a pilot, like just before I did Gemstones, where I'm playing a white supremacist punk rocker who becomes a serial killer based on a real person and goes into an Indian sect and kills all these people. So he's a skinhead. And I learned how to play the guitar and play these 3 popular skinhead songs that are for like the anthem for white nationalism. And it was like just before I started Gemstones. So, so what was really great was having a director call up and look at my reel and pick up the phone and we had a good conversation. He's like, look, my producers want me to go with this one guy that does this one thing that's one element of the character. The other producer wants me to go with this other name that's known for this kind of thing, and he does these kind of sheriffs all the time, but it's really fucking boring. And he goes, but you have these 3 elements all in one physical body that I need. I need for people to believe you, which is one of my kind of superpowers, authenticity, believability, truthfulness, I need for people to believe you. And then we're not sure if you're a good guy or like, you got to be able to not tip the hand and you got that subtlety there. And then there's times where I really need for you to be an advocate and a buddy for him, and then also kind of, and I need a sense of humor. Like I also need that. So it's like these other two guys don't have these other qualities that you have in one body. So, it would be three different actors for this role, but I need you. And I need you to work locally in Atlanta. And luckily I have friends in Atlanta. So I was like, hey, can I stay with you? You're like, yeah. So it came down because some of these things become really kind of economic at a certain point, is to go, I'm always, if I'm getting an audition, that means a famous person or a known person is unavailable or they can't afford them. That's really what it's coming down to at this stage of my career. And also I've kind of carved out some kind of characters that are some archetypes that are, bureaucratic assholes. It's like, I'm there's a short list, comic guys, there's a short list. So, as you get older, people die off, like they just, so it's going to get better for the next 20 years. I'm just trying to carve out what I kind of want to do next, and a lot of that has to do with, and what's great about this role is just, I have just tons and tons of dialogue. A lot of it, stayed in for plot things, and then a lot of it got cut because it doesn't. But I mean, we shot 8 pages of dialogue the first day of work. I thought it was going to be 3 different scenes. Like, oh, we'll cut this, and he's like, oh no, we're all doing it at one. I'm like, all 8 pages, right now, like. Okay, well, then I'll use the river because I talk about the river and all the. No, we can't use the river because you got to see the body, and so we're right there. It's right there. I can't even So it was really that first day. I must tell you, was just a really huge challenge for me, man. And also just I'm getting back to supporting lead roles. I kind of got away from it. I did that in Dallas. I did that in Deepwater Horizon, supporting lead, Trumbo's a supporting lead. And then it was last time I think we were Unit 234 was another supporting lead. So it's I'm getting back to where, I was pre-COVID, which is great. And so now it's, I have brand new reps that are really fucking aggressive and great. And more just as enthusiastic as I am. I feel like I'm a 20-year-old kid, even though I'm not. Awesome. So this is just a great time. And for me to be able to kind of have these kind of heavy, weighty scenes that I'm just driving with Mel is exactly kind of what I needed right now. So I realized after doing this for a long period of time, as hard as it is, because I do 50 job auditions a year, 60 self-tapes a year. And it's I think I should get all of them. You know what I mean? But I realize I only get the ones I'm supposed to get.
Yeah.
What's meant for me is meant for me. And this was an offer. I had not gotten an offer for a movie since Spencer Confidential. That was an offer. Because I did 2 for Peter. That was the 3rd time. That was a straight offer from Netflix. Number 5 on the call sheet, like that. So it was one of those things where I had not gotten an offer since, 2018. So it's a long time, man,
Sorry to interrupt you, but an offer implies, hey, we don't have to interview you. There's no audition. We just want you. Yeah.
You can do this.
Yeah.
And it's got to go up the flagpole. And, Netflix, you're number 5 on a, $150 million movie, it's I was number 4 for Deepwater, but it's just, so it had to go up the flagpole. And lucky for me, it was a story I tell them all my actor friends. It was this casting director that loved my work when I first moved to LA in 92. And it was she just happened to be the president of casting for Paramount Pictures. So I went in every single time doing the best I could, and I never got a job. But she kept bringing me in, and she just loved my work. And years later, and I just kept coming in doing the best I can, and just never went my way ever.
Yeah.
But from that, her assistant was Sarah Finn, who now is the head of all Marvel. So that worked out pretty well. And Sarah calls me periodically. But it's cut to years later, I have to get approved from Lionsgate to be number 4 for Deepwater Horizon. And guess who's the head of casting for Lionsgate? Yeah. It's Deborah Aquila who brought me in for 20 years at Paramount. And she's like, no problem, approved. And then awesome. we were in Toronto together, and I'm just kind of like crying because she tells me the story. She said, it came across my desk, and when you were Peter Berg's first choice, and she's like, and then it came down to me because I'm the president. She's like, every single time he came in, he like just nailed it. And it just didn't go his way. And he never had a bad attitude about it. And you just kept coming in and doing good work. And I kept bringing you in till we finally find something. He goes, so here we are all these years later, you're it, kid, you're it. And I was just like, wow, it really like emotionally got to me a lot. Cause it's just one of those things when you're kind of a journeyman working class actor, it's like you just keep going and going and going, and you don't know how that's going to pan out years later. And it worked out pretty well.
It did, man. Because, a lot of actors, when they get a little older, like with Mel Gibson, for instance, they're not giving it their all. Like he still gives it his all in these movies.
Yeah.
And it's just cool to see that you got to act aside. That is phenomenal. But I got to go backwards because you've worked with two of my favorite comedians. You were on the George Carlin Show.
Yeah, dude.
What was that experience like?
I got a great story. I got a great George Carlin story about that. That was my first sitcom. I had moved from New York to LA. I did 6 Degrees of Separation on Broadway, and the national tour brought me to Los Angeles because I was in LA for like 3 months, and then we were on the road for another 6. And one of this is still a casting director fan of mine. This is the thing, when I try to tell all those young actors and even actors who've been doing this for a bit, I'm like, you're building relationships. Like every time you put a self-tape out there, it's a potential. It's almost like dating. It's like, it is like Tinder and speed dating because they decide if they really want you to like, do I like what you did in the first 3 to 5 to 7 seconds? Am I going to watch the rest of your audition? But you're building a relationship that may be a long, long thing. So Mark Sachs was the casting director, and he was with Warner Brothers when they were just in the heyday of like everything. Warner Brothers TV was like, that was just that casting office had like 8, they had West Wing, they had Friends, they had like Cheers, like they were just killing it. And so they finally, on this new network called Fox, no one ever heard of it. It was like some stupid cartoon that was on there that I thought would never be the light of day, something called The Simpsons. Have you guys heard of that?
Yeah, no kidding.
Who was like Tracy Ullman had a show, and then The Simpsons, and then because of Sam Simon, like they were able to get George Carlin to do a sitcom, which he never agreed to do. And he was very reluctant to do it, but he's like, I'm going to do it. It's got to be based on my life. It's got to be the bar. It's got to be the Bronx. It's got to be New York. It's got to be all these things, right? So he had his hands in kind of everything in that. But he just resented the power, like he just resented the power, like just Carlin. He resents money and suits and accountants and lawyers. And so what he hated is the network would come and watch the run-throughs. And so a way in which this is a great George Carlin story, a way in which that he like wanted them to go away is he would just offend them to the point that they just and insult them like to the. So there was this joke about something about the Russians, like, Russians being like, vicious and killers and things like that. And then he makes this joke about the showers in Auschwitz because a lot of these executives were Jewish. So when it was not in the script before, but when the run through came with the network folks, and he goes, just look at that, I want to be the shower guard. Who wants to be the shower guard in Auschwitz? You know what I mean? And he makes the joke, and it's like fucking dead. Like it just was just dead. And they were so offended that like they didn't want to come back. And he goes, good, the suits are gone. He goes, okay, now. Then they went back, and he's like, we're not going to shoot. And they're like, you can't shoot that. You can't make that joke. Like they just were up in arms, and he was just like, oh, see, this is the. And then the next time we did the network run through, it was like half the people were gone. And they're like, I'm not gonna go there and be insulted by George Carlin. But I just the balls, the audacity and the balls of George Carlin was just like they were just huge. And I always respected him. When I left New York to go to LA, I watched his show, his last thing at the Paramount, and it's called, if you guys have watched it, if you're a big Carlin fan, it's called the Big Club. You and I are not in the Big Club. It's like he could have redone that like last week, because everything he's talking, now they're coming for your Social Security, coming so they can take it away and give it to their criminal friends on Wall Street. And I was like, wait a minute, dude. It's like, this was 1990 when he was doing this special. And it's like he's talking about right now. Like that guy was so, and I remember watching it going, man, he's so bitter. But he was like, no, you have to be angry. We can't just keep taking it. Like this is, we just can't keep taking it. And he goes, it's called the American dream because you have to be asleep to believe it.
Yeah, he was
like, whoa, dude. Whoa. He was just so brazen and smart, and he saw it coming, and almost every single thing he talked about in that. So I tell everybody, he's like, do Google The Big Club, watch that whole 7 minutes. And it's like, he could have recorded it yesterday. It really is like, it's great. Yeah. Carlin, love him.
The other show that you were on for another comedian I like was Titus, a show that ended way too soon.
Yeah.
Christopher Titus is another guy who's absolutely brilliant and
sharp. I don't know what happened. I think the thing is, do you know anything about what his trajectory? No, I don't know. I think the thing is he had a pretty healthy ego, and he's got a show, and I think the thing that I realized over the years is if you're anti-gay, if you are anti-Jewish, if you're as we're seeing Me Too, if you're you're a pig, you treat women less than, and if you're a pain in the ass to work with, it's like they're all equally career killers. Like one of those is a career killer, and the one that I think is the biggest career killer which is terrible to say, is anti-Semitic, or racist, or like no. If you're a pain in the ass, you're done. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, and I don't think he was, because he was pretty good to me, but he really bought into his greatness. And I've seen his stand up, and I did think he was great. And I just don't know. Like, I don't know if that's what the case was. You never kind of know. That's the other thing about this. The whole thing is there's no science to this. There's no map. As much as people think influencers are going to do that, they're not influencing it. They're not doing anything. They're not. Like, I watched Kevin O'Leary like kind of ruin Marty Supreme for me.
Yeah.
Like, I go, really? You can't find another 60-year-old fucking amazing, a real actor that can play that role. You got to pick Kevin O'Leary from the, Shark Tank.
Yeah.
Millionaire taking a job from an actor. It's like, what a perfect metaphor for the world right now. It's like, like I'm not a big John. I work with John Voight. I'm like, but John Voight could have fucking killed that role. Like, I can pick a dozen dudes that could play that role, because every time the camera went back, I don't know if you saw Marty Supreme, but like every time the camera, Marty Supreme was still fantastic. Loved it. It was great. But it was like every time it went back to Kevin O'Leary, was like, his response to everything is just don't do anything. Keep it simple. No conversation in your eyes. Just stare and look at the scene. It was just this safe, easy choice. But it was like, nah, dude. Anybody could, like, there's a dozen guys, 50 guys I could think of that would have killed that role.
Sure.
But they kind of like to do a thing like Tyler thought Tyler the Creator was fantastic. I mean, it was just everybody up and down the street was fantastic in that movie. He was the most kind of glaring. And again, I love Jennifer Vendetti, who's the casting director. She's like so good, knows her stuff. But somebody made a decision,
Yeah. But I was reading an article from NOLA.com, and I thought it was kind of fun. You being in New Orleans, and you called yourself the secret movie star. Do you still feel that way in terms of, it's 2019 when you had that article written, but do you still feel like that's kind of a thing that you embody?
Yeah. It's kind of, it's a blessing and a curse. It's one of those things where, like I would love to get more acknowledgement for the work that I do, but I also seamlessly move through roles to roles. So it actually kind of works to my advantage to not, and that's what this director was saying. Yeah. Like you're not known so much for certain things that it actually helps me. So it makes me believe you more. And also it's one of the reasons I nailed Dallas Buyers Club was just to go, he goes, yeah, I got a famous person in New York. I got a famous person in LA. He goes, but those people, the minute that they're there, it'll pull them out of the context of the story because I believe you. And I was like, well, dude, I'm only like 3 years older than Jared. Like it's mathematically impossible. Although he looks like he's 20 because he's all vegan and rock star. But point being is that, it's to my advantage a little bit to not be so known, because I have friends that are known for certain things and they can't break out of that. They just do that one role, and there's plenty of work for that. But I feel like I have this great advantage of this kind of general, and I've lost weight and I shaved my head. Like, so,
you look great in the hunting season though. You did. You really great.
Yeah. And I did. I let my hair grow out gray and I did the beard. It's a different look. I also felt like that Mel and I were like really far apart age wise. Mm-hmm. Like if I kept it like this, it would look like how could I be his friend? I'm like, 40, and he's 70.
Yeah.
So it was like, I got to kind of, build my, and I said to the director, I'm thinking of doing this goatee. And it kind of looks like this. He goes, yeah. Grow. Like I love that, Don't let your hair grow gray. Yeah. We'll go, so he was just kind of pushing me and encouraging me because it does make sense that we have years of history together, So if there's a 20 or 30 year gap between our ages, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Even though I think we're mathematically like 9 years apart, even though Mel looks much more worn, Mel's, he's worn, he's doing Passion of the Christ 2 and 3 right now in Malta as we speak. He's doing back-to-back two feature films of Passion 2 and 3.
Wild. Okay.
And I said, did you call Passion 2 the Electric Boogaloo? Because I think that might be, it could bring in a younger demo.
That's right. Yeah.
That's the way to go.
Yeah, it's the way. And if you put an influence in there, maybe somebody from Shark Tank, maybe, ask
Kevin O'Leary comes back.
Yeah. Or like the gal on there is just something, you know what I mean? That home shopping gal, maybe she'll, do a little cameo or something.
That's awesome. How are the self tapes going? I was watching your company. You doing a lot of pop-ups and stuff. That seemed like
I've been doing these pop-up classes just because no one wants to be online for more than 2 hours. But like, I think COVID just burned the shit out of everybody. They're like, I try to do 3-hour classes where I can like just give them everything for 3 hours, and it's like, it's just getting people to commit to 3 hours, and also there's just been it's been, the thing we don't talk about that it's just, and again, with this merger, I think it'll just be even worse. I really hope this merger doesn't go through, but it looks like it will.
The Netflix and the HBO.
Yeah. It's just a bad, when you have monopolies, it's
always bad. It's always bad
for everybody, and owning all that content, owning that physical, all that land at Warner Brothers Studios, the lot. I mean, it just eliminates a lot of competition. It makes them be able to negotiate, to pay you little to nothing already. And Netflix already doesn't pay, now they're a little bit better, but the point is, it really makes it difficult for all creatives to negotiate a fair living wage, So I'm kind of switching gears a bit and focusing more on producing and owning projects so that I kind of not just in it, but I also kind of get a little piece of the pie. So that's my focus more now.
The last time we spoke, you were talking about working with your son more. Is that in the same vein? Is that?
Yeah, it is. The 3 projects that all 3 big projects that I have all have roles for my son in there. One of which we would play opposite each other, which would be great. Another one I would just have a couple of scenes with him. But the one that I'm really excited about is the one where I'm, we're father and son in the movie, and it's a kind of a cool project called Southern Gothic. It's a nice little thriller a rash of murders based on Grimm's fairy tales, and there's like 200 of them. So the idea is to shoot.
I'm already in that one sentence.
Yeah, concept is just to shoot the feature. We have 3 Grimm's fairy tale murders in the film, but the idea is to use the feature as a proof of concept to shoot an entire series. It's not like Grimm, the series, like Brothers Grimm. Yeah. It's hard boiled, kind of more like True. If you like season 1 of True Detective, if you like that,
sure,
it's in that vein, shot in Louisiana. So it's copycat murders that just keep going. So
what a perfect state for that too, Louisiana.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's its own. Yeah, I got to revisit. Jen Lynch directed my American Sports Story episode, and that's David Lynch's daughter. She's an incredible director, and she's like, "Oh my God, I've been wanting to work in Louisiana." So I revamped the entire script for Louisiana for her specifically because she said, it's like Mother Nature does the art direction in Louisiana. Because if you look at season 1 of True Detective, is like they really like Louisiana, the South in general, was a character in the show. Yeah. And so I kind of wanted to get back to that, No, so I'm working on that, and then I got a 8-episode series that I'm pitching to Danny McBride. It's finally done. Spent 2.5 years developing all eight episodes. We just had a conversation today about attaching some name actors that already work with Danny, just to kind of help grease the wheel a little bit.
Yeah.
So today was a good day. So
great to hear. Can we talk more about it?
I'm trying to do that more. And my new manager's wants to produce projects with her clients. So I go, and they produced, my new management company. They produced Ozark. They produced The Accountant 1 and 2. So
it's an old hat. Then they've done it.
Yeah, they got 5 films that they're going to do this year. So it's like I'm at the right place with the right people in the right circumstance. So it's good.
It's all timing, right? That's awesome.
Yeah. How did you meet Jen Lynch?
Iced tea, by the way. This is not. I'm not doing bourbon.
I don't believe you at all.
Although I could, but I'm not.
Yeah.
How did you meet Jennifer Lynch?
Jen Lynch, she and I have a mutual friend named David Michaels, who I tried to produce some stuff with for years. He actually did a pass on the script. Was originally called Grimm, and now it's called Southern Gothic. So he did a pass on the script that I sent to her. And then when I did American Sports Story, I reached out to David saying, I'm going to work with her. And then she's like, so because we both love David, it was just like we kind of clicked immediately. And then she's like, no wonder he loves you. You're so easy to work with, and I give you a little bit of direction. You kind of run with it. It's like, I barely have to do anything. You make me look so good. So we had a really good rapport, and I'd sent her the script, and she kind of went a little cold on it. And then with her dad passing, I just let some time go by. I'll read back. I'll send it back to her and show her the proof of concept, show her the kind of lookbook that we put together and things like that. So that she just said, I just like her direction. I like what she did with American Horror Story. She's going to do some more American Horror Story stuff. Certain directors, what I'm finding now is I like to return back to certain people. I did 3 things for Ryan Murphy. He's got another couple. He's going to do a couple more shows. So I think my goal now is to kind of circle back on people that I like to work with and see if we can do it again and again and again. I mean, Peter Berg has been doing stuff overseas and out of the country, so it's been hard for he and I to kind of get back together. But we keep talking about it. And he's now doing Call of Duty. So there's a part of me that just wants to just get ripped as fuck and go, look, dude, I could do this guy. I just don't know Call of Duty.
Please get in there. That would be perfect. Yeah. I would love that.
Yeah.
That'd be sweet.
So there's a couple of guys in there, but I would have to kind of really trim down and tighten up, which that's not a bad thing.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it's good for you personally, and it's good to be fun for you professionally. Yeah, it'd be good.
Yeah. And I think the thing too is I think I'm moving into. It was so funny. It was like the minute a friend of mine had done a lot of films with Bruce Willis. This kind of low budget independent stuff, where Bruce would get $2 million for the day for 1 day to work.
Sure.
And then he was getting sick, and it was hard for him to do lines and things like that. So, but the minute Bruce got diagnosed, my friend kind of turned to me and goes, look, we got these 3 projects that Bruce was attached to. Why don't you read these? And I was like, wait, are you asking me to replace Bruce Willis?
No shit.
And I was just like, that's a pretty big leap. And he goes, nah, your sense of humor, you could pull this stuff off. And I was just like, So then I was starting to reading them, and they were not really great scripts, like not great. But I started to think, I was like, hey man, that's not a bad little trajectory to kind of, at this stage of the game and my age and stuff, I think it might be a smart thing to kind of move into these. And a friend of mine's like, dude, you need to be doing action movies so that you build up your overseas numbers, so that if you're in a project, it's like they run numbers on you. And I was like, well, I got Deepwater, I got these other,
Yeah.
So it kind of got me thinking on going after certain roles or creating stuff. I have access to lots of material. There's a company that kind of keeps calling me and stalks me to like, what about this? I can find probably, you can do our search engine, find these projects. I was like, and then now I was like, oh, maybe I should start looking at more stuff for my son and I, like, because I think, as I said to you guys before, I'm mostly happy with my family and comfortable when I'm on set. And when I had the Gemstones combo of like working and being on set and being with my son, it was really kind of like, I go, without stalking him and undermining his career, like I want to do, that's all I want to do. I just want to do projects like with the two of us working on stuff that we're excited about. Like he's coming home and I'm saving this audition just so I can kind of read it with him, because when we did American Sports Story audition, it was like, that audition was so solid. It stood up for like 6 months. It got through the strike. And so it's like, I feel like, and he just booked a really incredible lead role. I can't wait for this when it comes out, and I'll have you guys do an interview with him called Inhuman. It's by Fernando Luga, who's a music video director. He directed all of Bad Bunny's videos. He directed Drake and J-Lo's. He's out of Miami. He created this really great, it's really a Blumhouse film. It's what it is. I'm trying to get Blumhouse to take a peek at the first cut because he's just a brilliant director. But my son plays a kid who has this kind of, he's possessed and he has the ability to levitate, and like people's eyes bleed and shit when he looks at him. He's just like, it's the Sixth Sense. Like he's just like, he's got this great. And so, so I'm excited because that's like, coming off of Gemstones, this is it, this was like a huge physically, emotionally challenging thing. And I mean, the art direction is amazing. The shots are just incredible. Mm-hmm. They have a DP that's like, just finished like a big Netflix series in Mexico or Spain, I think. Mexico, I think. One of the two. But the point is that, we're he's just about to graduate from college, and so his career is just getting started, and mine's going into the third act, and or the third quarter. I think Bryan Cranston was saying, he's in the fourth quarter of his career, and I was like, okay, I'm in the third quarter then, because if you're in the fourth quarter, I'm in the third. He goes, and then there's overtime. He goes, and then there's sudden death.
Oh no!
Oh, dude, it's terrible. Okay, so now I'm in the second quarter. I haven't got to half. Yeah. So, because we're like, may we live to be 100. Like Dick Van Dyke made 100. So I was like, all right, we can do 100. My uncle lived to 80. I was like, I can kick around for another 30 years.
Oh, for sure.
I just got to figure some shit out.
It sounds like you need to be in Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you think I should be doing?
Why not?
I should just drop everything and just focus on that. And then just stalk Peter Berg till he like blocks my call.
Listen, if a ripped James DuMont starts stalking a man, he's gonna notice.
Yeah, he already does.
He
already gets his Christmas, like I sent him the Christmas video with the piano. I didn't tell him I don't play piano. I'm not gonna tell him shit. He'd be like, oh my God, he's a Renaissance man. DuMont does everything.
We'll cut this out.
Whatever, dude. Yeah, it's the perception, world of perception right now. Perception and deception.
What's next for you?
Oh, sorry.
What's that?
Sorry.
What are you guys, Canadian? You're like apologizing. Sorry. No, sorry. So sorry.
Screw you, Jason. But I was wondering, since we're on Stranger Things and we're in the last season, do you have any fond memories of?
I do, and a little bitter pill.
All right, good.
Because they were like, like, I don't know if you know this, but like Joe Crest and I both auditioned for the dad, like Barb's dad.
Got it.
When we were doing Deepwater Horizon, we're both like, yeah, man, I'm up for this thing and I'm going to Atlanta. I was like, yeah, me too. Like, I didn't know it was the same fucking role. Like, we're both, but he got it. So he did the dad and had a nice big run on that. And then they came back at me with like the role that I did, which was going to be, you're going to do some stuff with Paul Reiser and it's going to be more stuff in the lab. And it was like all this buildup and it just never happened. And I don't know, I don't know. It was just one of those things where they were building it up to be this recurrent and they put me in a nice hotel and they flew me in. Like, it was just like they were courting me to do something more and it just didn't go that way. And I don't know if it was like one of my old friends is Sean's like former business partner. And I mentioned that we were buddies and he's like, I don't want to deal with this guy because that's my like, I don't know. Like, I don't think it had anything to do with that. It's just one of those things where I always think everything should be a recurring role. Like, why don't you need James DuMont all the time?
Sure.
That's just like, that's how I survive in this business. A healthy, the healthy narcissist. I call myself the enlightened narcissist. So there is this thing of like, they just built it up that I was going to do more. Like, it was going to be more episodes. And I thought the call was going to come. And they were setting it up to be this thing because I'm going to pick them up and I'm doing things and we say goodbye. And I thought it was like set up to be more and it just never. So that's all. So I'm happy and appreciative and love that. I think it's great. It just was weird to be like, I did 7 episodes of Dick Wolf, Lyle Menendez murders. And I thought that's going to be huge. But I do that one episode of Stranger Things and that was like that, just one episode of that show was just such a cult thing. It's like, so yeah, I think that it's a little thing where like, you just want to be part of I got the FOMO mentality. Like, I don't want to miss out on anything, And so I don't like the one and dones. I just did a series recently and it was like laid out that I would be one of these people that could be in all 10 episodes. And it's like, only became one, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, wow. And maybe I was a little over enthusiastic because I was coming to like, hey, I just came off of Gemstones. That was supposed to be a 1 episode. And here I am, like, let's go, but let's have fun. And they're like, okay, well, we'll see when you're coming back. You're coming back. We'll have you back. And it's like, no one's calling. No. I'm still here. So yes, it's one of those things. So this is where I'm kind of like at now of just I'm so incredibly appreciative and overjoyed that I still get to do this thing. I just want to do it all the time. And so I think the thing is I have to wait for that thing, that opportunity that shows that I can do many, many episodes and stick around for many seasons, or I create that on my own and just do it that way. Like, I don't know, it's just one of those things where I say to everybody, like, they think, oh my God, you're working all the time. I was like, I did 2 jobs this year. The year before I did 1, like strikes and COVID. And, but because I have so much in the can, I think there's a perception that I'm working all the time, which is fantastic. Cause I want people to think that as opposed to not working,
Right.
But I feel like, it's in the doing of it that I now I just have to find, you talk about the self-tapes. Now I just find a lot of great joy and satisfaction with creating this human being in 24 to 48 hours and documenting it and then sending it off. And then there'll be a new one the next day, so I have to find the joy is in getting to create a human being, and whether I'm compensated or not, although I'd like to be, but it's not why
you're doing it. Yeah.
Right. It's not why anybody should do
it.
Yeah. But I think that wears on people over time, So I think the challenge I've been having is that actors also have not been getting a lot of people. We got hurt. These strikes, like COVID was bad. And then there was a resurgence, and then the streamers kind of had control and they pulled away content and they moved it overseas. And so, our buyers had a lot of power, and the day-to-day folks. And I know, one of my dearest actor friends been doing it for 20 years is quit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember people stopping and quitting. But so I think the goal moving forward is to try to find ways to do it all the time as much as possible, whether someone else is giving me the opportunity or I'm creating my own. And I'm doing the same thing for other people too, which is I do this Monday Fun Day where writers can have their material read and actors get to read roles for free. Yeah. I do it for free, or pay what you can. If they want to give us a donation, that's fine. But the point is to go, I want to create opportunities for other people, other jobs for them. But I also want to create a place where actors can always act.
Yeah.
Whether they're paid or not, and they get experience and they learn how to do cold readings, and writers get feedback from really actors. And so it's kind of like a win-win, not a secret. I kind of have a development department. I found this 8-episode series and I found this project and I put the material in front of people and I try it out. And, I spend a lot of time vetting the material so that, like a house, if the foundation is right, it's more likely to kind of get picked up and run. So we'll see. That's really I'd love to talk to you guys in a year to see how it goes.
Yeah, please.
The next year to go, like, was this an experiment? How did that go?
Do you stream that Monday Fun Day thing? Do you put it on
you can come in on Zoom. It's free. You just sign up for it, and it's at our website, oncameraworkouts.com. It's called Monday Fun Day. You sign up and you get a Zoom link, and then the material tomorrow, Sunday. I usually send the material Sunday or Monday when I have all the material in. We do 2 or 3 projects in a 3-hour period of time. We read 15 pages of a pilot of a feature, 20 pages of a TV pilot. Some people have one-person shows. Some people have shorts. So you usually get like 15 or 20 minutes, usually like a minute a page, to have material done. And I try to do 2 or 3 things as opposed to one project to allow diversity in different things so that and some people are like, oh, man, why can't I read the whole thing? And I'm like, well, because, you should be able to tell this story in 15 minutes. Yeah. And this section of your material, here's this 15 minutes, and then another 30, and then you have 45, and then you have an hour. And so then, you should be able to tell this story. But we've been doing it for 5 years. Over 100 projects have come through.
That's awesome.
A few of these features have now Emmy, Golden Globe, and Oscar actors attached.
Sweet.
They're in some sort of development. As I said, with this 8-episode series, we built it from scratch. Like from the pilot, all 8 episodes were read multiple times. We vetted it. They got feedback. Rewrites were done for 2.5 years. So, it takes time to kind of build things up. And that Grimm project that's now called Southern Gothic, I think that first script came to me 15 years ago.
Sure.
Some projects take like 20 years to get done.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So tell everybody about hunting season and where they can find you online.
Yeah. So hunting season, you can get it on video on demand. I think it's in the top 5 on Amazon Prime now, although Christmas is still happening, but it was in the top 5, number 2 on Amazon Prime, number 5 on Apple. And I saw it on Fandango when it first came out, because I was in Chicago at a memorial when we premiered in LA. And it's Mel Gibson. And I really loved I'm trying to think of the name, the girl from Ozark, the daughter from Ozark. I really felt that she had like an incredible arc in
Sophia.
Yeah. I thought she was great. And same thing with the other girl who was the captain, the
January, Shelley.
Yeah, Shelley. Like the two of them were really, really solid. They worked well together. It's a good, like you said, I think it's a good, if people like good old like 90s action thrillers, like stuff you would see old school, like straight to DVD. Remember those days where it was like, Billy Zane's in it along with Eric Roberts, who's in everything, it's like, so but Mel's work is really, really subtle in here. And he's playing this kind of guy who's off the grid, you can tell that he's had some sort of little military background, little conspiracy, trains his daughter to shoot, and hunt. And so, her name is Tag, which I think is an interesting, it's like, it's just a good thriller and it very well directed. I also love the bad guy who's, like in all, all kinds of, like, he had an interesting role that he kind of did. So yeah, and I play Sheriff Brake, which is my funny story about hunting season is So my first day was just really tough because it was just a lot of dialogue, and I really thought we were going to break it into 3 scenes, but they wanted to get it all done by lunch, and it didn't happen. And a lot of that had to do with me because I was like, wait, I thought we were going to like, and then, and Mel's not supposed to give me anything because he has all this, he knows all the things I'm talking about. So he's just those steely blue eyes, but Mel has just such subtle performance, man. I mean, he knows what he's doing. Like, this is Apocalypto. This is the, you know what I mean? Braveheart. Like, this guy knows how to work the camera from both sides, as an actor and director. And I just felt like I was in really good hands, and then that second day is when I had a day off. And then that third day of the second day of working with him, I had all those fun comic scenes where we're kind of riffing and stuff. And he was having back issues. So he had gotten his chiropractor. He was ready to play. And I was like, okay, now I'm looking for the lethal. Like I got the Mad Max version, like the first day, like just stare through me, like just like burning through your blue eyes, And I got a little starstruck. I don't usually normally do that, but he just knows what he's doing. And then when we got to the humor part, I was like, oh, now we're getting to the Lethal Weapon riffing, like we're going to, right? And so my character's like, turns on, whoop, 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 like I go, put the condoms down, like I'm going to have, so I'm supposed to drive up and like stop. The costume person put me in like these big heavy boots. And as I'm driving in, the camera's straight ahead and there's one camera guy behind it. And I go to step on the brake and I step on the gas by accident. And then finally I stepped on the emergency brake and I almost hit the camera and then the camera guy. And then everybody's freaking out because it's like, those are these stories you hear about like, oh, independent film, some, kill the camera guy. And I'm like, I turn to the customers like, I don't need these big boots. No one, it's from my breast down. Let me be in socks. I don't care. Because it was like the boots kind of messed up with the thing. Because I thought it was the car at first. And I was like, no, it's probably these boots. And my character's named Sheriff Brake. So after this happened, I said, well, maybe we should rename him Sheriff Sometime Brakes or sort of.
Yeah, it's some gas pedal.
Yeah, maybe Sheriff Not So Brake, maybe we should call me Sheriff Gas instead.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So it was a good way. And then Mel's just like laughing and we're just having a great. And then, and AJ's worked with, AJ's got a dear friend of he worked on a SEAL team with a friend of mine. And so we just had a great, like that second day, and then from there on, it was like, that was really where you see the rapport and the relationship and that's what he wanted from me from the beginning, and then we get to that last day where it's all the church stuff, scenes and things like that. And I really, again, I had like paragraphs of dialogue that I just was drilling in my, shitty hotel room and, but fuck Georgia. I was just so far away from everything.
Yeah.
That I just was, working my words in this hotel, with bed bugs and all. So it was just, it was crazy. But yeah, so it's a really solid, it's a good throwback thriller. It's very well done. The people that did, I'm trying to think of the editors were the assistant editors for, what was the Swedish kind of action movie with like Roma?
It's not the CISO guy, right?
No, Runa Mari. Do you remember who that is? Remember that girl? Runa Mara?
Yeah, I know who she is.
Dragon Tattoo. The assistant editors for Dragon Tattoo did the editing for this. So they shot the whole movie and sent it to Sweden, and these guys just went to town. And I think they did a great job of really keeping a very tight thriller. So it does have that Dragon Tattoo kind of thread through it if you look at it, like stylistically. And that's a pretty good reference,
Yeah, those movies are great. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's a good look. It's $5, it's $10 or something like that. It's awesome. Rent it, everybody.
I already did.
Please tell your friends. All of us geeks out there.
That's right.
Any other questions you guys have? Lay it on me. We got some time.
Where can everybody find you online?
You can find me on Instagram. It's James DuMont, DUMONT. And then for actors who really want to learn how to do self-tape stuff, because I've been self-taping for 15 years, booked over 100 jobs from self-taping alone. This wasn't one of them because it was an after. But even one self-tape from Gemstones led to 4 seasons. So, 6 years, 4 seasons, not a bad thing. Mm-hmm. And the other Instagram is On Camera Workouts, plural. And that's in terms of just training and stuff. And I do privates, work with people, help them with their self-tapes. I do these pop-up classes. And then we're on Facebook. We had a Facebook page, James DuMont's On Camera Workouts. And I haven't been on Facebook in a long time. I started getting back on again, and I was like, oh, all these people are responding. I was like, oh, I forgot there's a whole Facebook world out there.
There's a community out there, yeah.
There's a community out there of older people that don't like photographs. And, people with longer attention spans than TikTok, TikTok will be dead by the time this is all said and done. By the time it airs. But I'm on the Tick and the Talk, and I don't go on that other one, X or whatever. I think I'm pretty clear about my disdain for
exceptionally, but I appreciate it very much.
Yes, exactly. Mutual. All right, everybody, like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Absolutely.
See you guys.